5, 4. Live from the internet, this is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. Welcome to episode 58, recorded on this June 13th, 2019. I am your host, Mark, coming to you from my luxurious kitchen. And joining us tonight from his deathbed is none other than Mino Spellgood. Mino, I know you're not doing
Hey,
well,
Mark.
but how you doing?
I'm not doing too great, but I took some painkillers just now before the show, but I'm gonna be pretty low energy tonight. I can feel it.
Mino is sick, but he's here. That's the kind of sacrifice we at the Crystal Chronicles are willing to give you, the community of Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, Global or Japan. We're here for you. Yes, a little whiskey, a little ibuprofen, all good. And joining us from his secret underground laboratory, it is the mad scientist of evaluations, Kreese, a.k.a. Zarink. How you doing, Kreese?
I'm doing well, but I don't think my evaluations are mad scientist material. That would be Mino's evaluations.
Also, Aminosa just mentioned whiskey and ibuprofen, so I'm gonna pour myself a little bit.
Nothing
Of
takes
both, I'm
the
assuming.
bite out of illness than
It's like a painkiller, right?
self-medication.
I don't know.
Yes,
Kreese is
it
a
was
nurse.
given
He can-
to people
I'm not a nurse.
Nurse teacher.
a long time ago to deal with various illnesses. During that time, they also used leeches to bleed people. So, you know, I'm not sure that's the kind of medicine you want to use, but still. Cocaine and whiskey for everybody. That was the 19th century. Good times. All right. Well, we do have some news before we get to the meat of our show. We, if you didn't realize, had special maintenance last night. What was this special maintenance? All we know for certain, there was one little code that was changed, and all that we know for certain in-game is they removed Ifrit special boosted characters. So, unfortunately, we will not have Super Synergy in Japan or in Global special boosted anymore. Those 6 characters, Vanille, Snow, Cater, who the hell else?
Balthier.
Terra, and somebody else. I don't remember who. Anyway, those 6 special characters that gave you that bonus XP are no longer able to do that. So hopefully you were able to farm up all the boards you wanted to, at least get all those treasures. I know I got all the treasures, and I have mastered about 20 boards. How have you guys fared on your summon boards?
I think all about the same, but also, the little patch they had, I assumed it was only to take out the special boosted, right? Are people theorizing it did something else?
I didn't know what it might be ahead of time because it was timed at a potential content drop, but you're right, it only makes sense for it to have been the special boosted drop.
Right, that was the only thing that changed that day. And I'm almost positive that they do this for when they implement the double cycle quest, although I think I might have missed it this time. Do you guys remember if there was a small 30-minute maintenance for that?
It came with maintenance at the beginning of the month.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, any of these like 30-minute ones, I think it's to remove or add something. But I think I did all treasures and then 23 characters mastered. And then I was talking to Kreese on Discord this week saying, oh, I'm going to blow past them with mastered boards. But then after I looked at the roster, I was like, who else do I really want to raise? I don't think it's worth the effort anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm ahead of you then on mastered boards. I'm
Oh,
at
damn.
27 as of today.
Woohoo!
Oh, damn. You
and
found
I'm
7 more.
2 treasure boards. I did not get Furian's or Lena's treasure boards.
Oh, so you cheated because you didn't get treasure. You went straight for that master.
Well, we've got a
It's the
wide
difference in
range.
board characters.
We've got a wide range on Twitch right now. Shara, who has mastered 6 or 7, Aminosa about 30, 5D 54, CSAM about 49, and then you have Chocobo and Heretics, all mastered. Random Planet 80 mastered. So yeah, there's a lot of folks who have
Most people
mastered
are
all
way
of
ahead
them.
of us.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted to push it. It was Saturday, so there were 4 more days of special boosted, I guess. But just staring at the roster, I was like, I don't think anyone needs.
Yeah, that was kind of my take on it. If I'm not going to use the characters, then why bother? And if they come back and they're really good, like Warrior of Light or level 70s or reworks, that kind of stuff, it's gonna be easier to farm them.
Right. And it cost me a ton of books, and I wanted
Sure.
to. I feel like if I tried to master everybody, I'm gonna be empty when Shiva comes, and then all the other summons, it's gonna snowball, get harder and harder.
Yeah, and I think Shiva's a little bit harder to farm, but I did see a video today of Noctis level 70 soloing it. So it's not super hard once we get those newer characters. So all right. So besides that's sad news. There is some happy news, and that is our summer festival. So that is live, and that's going to include a whole bunch of things, and we're going to talk about specifics later. But some things to notice is a festive gem sale, which includes the normal gem sale packs plus some bonuses. I think there's power stones, armor, the armor and weapon power-ups. There is armor tokens. There is power stones available in those different packages. So if you're going to buy gems and you're looking for some bonuses, those are the festive gem sales. We also have a new summer panel, Chocobo panel. So in addition to our monthly panel, we have a summer panel. And so a couple things I have not cleared it all yet. Because one of them is, of course, log in 8 days. One of them's do 25 co-op. I still haven't changed my support character. Of course, Y'shtola and Onion Knight, you're going to want to use them. Get an item with Dissidia points. Then there's defeat 20 behemoths, defeat 20 dragons, and defeat 50 goblins. The goblins are everywhere. Squall's LC, the final LC, has 3 behemoths. And Ramza's final LC has 4 dragons. So if you're looking, and Squall's also has goblins. So Squall's level 90 LC on hard has 3 behemoths and a whole bunch of dragons, or 5 goblins or more. So and then Ramza is all dragons. His level 90 LC. Yeah, and we'll probably see some of those in Lena or maybe in the next character event as well. But someone is saying random is saying Squall Perfectum, 3 behemoths, 6 goblins. So yeah, perfect. That's based on his lost chapter, of course. So and the same with
also
Ramza too.
Keep in mind that these Chocobo panels have to be completed within the next 12 or so days.
Yes.
So do not sit on them. It requires a little bit of grinding, especially the 50 stage completes with Onion Knight, for example, especially if you don't have his weapons. You got to carry him through some stuff.
Yeah.
The goblins, behemoths, and dragon farm, those are things that it might take a little bit of work to get them, depending on what you're doing and how much you're paying attention.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was gonna chill because these things always come with the content. For example, those dragons, if you just do Lena LC, you're done. Period. So I don't think you have to go out of your way on that. And I think they might scratch off some goblins on there. And I don't remember about the behemoths, but I don't think people should be going out of their way to farm it if it's like a huge pain in the ass. Because Lena LC is Sunday, so that's coming up real soon. Yeah.
Again, it's just something to keep in mind, and that Chocobo mission panel does not show up as at the top when I search the panels. It shows still the first half of June, so just something to keep in mind for people.
Yeah, and does it say what the big reward for that one is? Looks like
5 tickets,
1 power stone, and 200 gems for several of the last ones. and then 5 tickets. So pretty good rewards, along with, you know, the 5 books and 5 tickets and 500 gems and high shards and 10 armor tokens. So
also keep in mind we will be getting another set of Chocobo mission panels for the second half of June, and another set of mission panels for the second half of the summer event.
So many mission panels.
I'm drowning in gems. This is the most I've ever had.
I'm at, of course, this is skewed by Ifrit board, because I did not collect all of Ifrit board before you know, the 1st of June. Obviously, I don't know how many gems I collected from Ifrit before June 1st, but since June 1st I have collected 58,000 gems and I've not bought any. So 58,000 gems. 58,000.
So you haven't bought any
gems.
This sale?
I have not bought any yet this month. I will at some point.
Shit, you're gonna shoot ahead of me. What are you at? What's your total?
My total gems? 226,350.
Ah, damn, you're so ahead of me. I'm at 190, and what is it? I still need to buy a pack, but I think you're down 2 packs.
I have not bought any packs this month. Yep. So I'll buy 2 packs probably.
I bought my 2 packs for the month, and I owe myself a pack for last month. I keep telling myself I don't need to spend this money. It's fine, but I don't know. I need those gems.
Aminosa, I may have to pity Lena or Renoa or both. So we'll see how that goes.
I am now at 92,000 gems, which I think is the most I've ever had at one time.
Nice.
I am ready to pity Lena if necessary, because I think she is going to be really strong for me.
Oh, to address this, I don't know if this is the proper time. Maybe when we get later. Yeah. We have this section later, but I'm saying a lot of people are talking about how, like, we've been hyping Lena a lot, and I'm only interested in her because I'm pulling Jekt for sure. Like, as a character on her own, I'm sure she's fine, but I have a team in mind to utilize a ton of regen cheese. So I'm hoping you guys can get... Well, I mean, Mark's pulling for Renoa. That's going to help, right?
Yep.
I have a fully kitted out Furion ready in case I do not get Renoa.
Nice.
Yep. So, Lena's a great support. We'll talk about her more in length when she hits, but she's not, I mean, she's meta in a sense of she's a great support. So if you need a great support, she's a good support, but she does work better with some characters than others. That's for sure. We also are getting double daily missions. So all of our daily logins are, or all of our daily missions have been doubled. Hooray. We also have double cycle quests. Hooray. And we have Y'shtola's new costume. This isn't from the Shadowbringers, is it? This is from whatever.
No, it's from Heavensward.
Heavensward. So Y'shtola's Heavensward costume. I was looking for the actual sale here to see what they called it in the game, because I don't know. It is a Y'shtola's extra costume. Thank you for that, Square. It is a sharp-looking costume. Heavensward, yes, the Heavensward expansion for Final Fantasy XIV. It is a sharp-looking costume, and I think a lot of people really like it, especially people who... Hero Cat says he bought 3 costumes. Of course, he has 3 accounts, so 1 for each account. Yeah, so I know a lot of people like Y'shtola, and this costume's pretty slick looking. Did both of you guys get this, or just Mino?
Me for sure.
Yeah, I got the costume too.
Oh, you did?
It looks amazing.
I haven't even put it on because I don't like using Y'shtola, but
I had to use Y'shtola for Ifrit board farming and to get the Chocobo panel mission complete. Even though I don't have her EX, I have her fully kitted out beyond that, so it wasn't too bad with her Reworked Awakening, which we'll get to.
Very good. Oh, that brings us to a little recap. Last week, as we were streaming and as we recorded our podcast, Golbez Clad in Darkness event launched. And we did stay on a little bit after and hang out and talk about that event. And you can, if it's still available on Twitch, listen to my great narration of the Golbez event story. But this week, just a little bit of follow-up about Golbez. I know Kreese has a MLB'd EX wielding Golbez. So, Kreese, what's your experience now of Golbez?
Golbez is a damage dealing monster. Oh my god, I did not expect him to be doing this much damage when I looked at his kit on paper. The fact that he does 2 HP attacks once he's fully stacked up, the fact that his EX ability can go to 200% max brave overflow, just all the damage he can do. It's skewed because he's had synergy for the last 2 events now, and enemies have been weak to either darkness or magic or a combination of the two. It's really skewed things, but oh my god, he's been doing so much damage. His downsides are he still does not have a lot of ability uses, and he burns through them fast if you don't kill the enemy fast enough. But for those few turns he has, he destroys stuff.
So, are the rumors true? Is he basically just a stronger Kuja? My limited time of seeing him in co-ops and using him as a friend, because obviously I don't have his kit, it seems like it's the same concept, right? Where he's building stacks, he'll keep losing them unless you have the EX, in which he'll have 100% uptime, right?
Correct. He does feel like a stronger Kuja in many ways. Unlike Kuja, he can, once he builds up his stacks, he can maintain them until his EX is ready to recharge him, whereas Kuja is constantly losing his stacks until he gets his EX charged. So he does have that going for him. Once he only needs 2 turns to get to full power, whereas Kuja needs his EX charged.
Oh yeah, right.
I feel like I mean they're both magic DPS, AOE DPS. I feel like Golbez is kind of what Vaughn and Terra was in their era. Tasumi's saying the same thing. He feels like Vaughn. But like when Vaughn was good in his time and when Terra was good in her time, they were both really bursty, huge damage dealers. But yeah, they would run out of abilities. Like, and that was pre-EX era, like nobody's business. So I mean, I feel like Golbez is doing ridiculous amounts of damage right off from the start. I mean, Kuja can do a little bit of damage early on, but he does need to build up really to his EX, and then he does a crazy amount of damage. I feel like Kuja's doing big damage right from the bat, and then continues to do big damage until he's out of abilities. So
yeah, I would agree with that assessment, and I think that's to Golbez's failing. Kuja at least brings a party aura with his EX, where he increases speed and increases attack for the whole team. Right. Golbez doesn't do that. The only thing he can do to help the team is imperil darkness, which not many characters can take advantage of, which means as soon as someone better comes around, maybe within a week or 2, he's going to start to lose attention fast. He's going to fall off.
Fairwind in chat is saying Kuja deals crazy damage 50% of the time until he gets his EX going.
Yeah, that's
similar to Golbez's build up as well, right? Because I mean, relatively,
it's a little bit different because Kuja has to use an ability, then he gets his ability plus. Use an ability, then he gets an ability plus, then he gets his EX, then all of his abilities are ability plus. Golbez, his first ability, and then he's plus, and then he's plus plus, and then he needs his EX to.
You need 3 stacks total. He gets 2 stacks if you have his weapon passes per ability use, so he needs 2 turns to build up, and then he's there.
Right.
Kuja, I mean, ultimately it turns out that it's about the same number of turns. They're not at full power, but Kuja's pacing to get there is different. Yeah, Kuja also has the advantage where he can get stacks from his Brave and HP abilities, which helps him a bit if you want to conserve ability uses.
Yeah, Kuja has a lot more longevity if you need him to have longevity. But yeah, Kuja goes, regular attack, regular attack, strong attack, EX, strong, strong, strong. Whereas Golbez is like regular attack, stronger attack, really strong attack, EX, strong, 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 out of abilities. I mean,
yeah.
But I mean,
Kuja has more ability uses. He has a faster charging EX. That helps him. So don't count Kuja out. He's just not tippity top of the DPS ladder anymore.
Right. I don't think he was out. So I mean, there's been a lot of hype in GL saying Golbez power creeps Kuja, but the JP players I talk to say that they're roughly on the same level. Not maybe equal, but like they're
Yeah,
on the same
does
plane for sure.
Tasumi and Fairwind are talking about single target versus AoE. Does Kuja get a bonus if he's attacking a single target?
No, he does not.
Okay, he does not.
His Ultima ability does not get any brave damage multiplier for attacking
Right.
a single target. Right now, Golbez does
But
on his
Golbez
AoE
does.
attacks.
Yep.
And Kuja has a single target HP attack,
Yeah.
but it's random brave hits, so it's
Always
not as
better.
great. I think Golbez is better in a single target because he has Brave Overflow plus multiple HP hits on Glare Hand plus. Ring Holy plus is only Brave Overflow.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Jake is saying Renoa will nerf them all, and we'll see when and if we get her. How will she compare?
Much stronger, says everybody. So I'm saying, like, JP players say Kuja, Golbez roughly equal. Renoa's like 3 tiers above them or something. So I'm glad. Oh, we'll talk about this later. But I almost rage pulled for Golbez this week, so I'm really glad I didn't have to.
I did. Just on tickets though. No, I guess I did spend some gems on Golbez, but didn't get anything. Potential teammates, parties, ability rotation. Chris, you want to walk through some helpful tips for Golbez creation?
Sure. First thing is that for allies, Golbez is a selfish DPS. However, he does provide himself an attack up and max brave up buff, so he actually wants aura party members who will basically buff his stats without putting more buffs on him. So characters like Lilithset and Bartz have been running pretty well with him. I have their kits, so those were ideal choices. For ability rotation, I found that it's best to start with Glare Hand, so he gets his max brave up buff, and then switch over to I mean Rising Wave first.
Yeah, Rising, right.
Rising Wave is the max brave up.
Yes.
And Glare Hand gives him an attack up buff. It's better to do it in this order because the attack up buff comes after the ability use, so there's no point in using it first. Whereas the max brave up comes before he does the Rising Wave attacks. So even though it does less damage potentially because you're not getting the extra HP hits on that first Rising Wave, getting the buffs up in a more ideal way works best. You also want to use Golbez's EX basically on cooldown unless you have a reason to save it. Just because he has so few abilities, he wants to burn that as frequently as possible. Other than that, he's pretty straightforward. You use abilities if you're targeting a single target. Rising Wave will do a lot more damage than Glare Hand every time, even though they have about the same potencies against single targets. Rising Wave has Brave Overflow, while Glare Hand does not. So keep that in mind.
Nice.
Yeah. That brings us to Decrith did a little Golbez post-release analysis on Reddit, so you can check that out. I think Decrith is here. He's Red Souls in Twitch and Red on our Discord. So anything from that, Crease, or Red, if you want to chime in on Twitch? Anything that you found out or want to add?
He basically hit a lot of the similar points. His TLDR message was that Golbez is really strong right now, but because he's pure DPS, he will get power creeped hard, and that's not too far off.
Red's saying he's done the research, and in the next 2 months, only the chapter story boss and Vayne's Cosmos will resist Dark. So Golbez should be okay to bring for a while.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so he's fun to play, and he does crazy damage, and he looks like a badass. So if you got him, and just from my interaction with the community, everyone but me has him.
Me too, of course. I have nothing.
You don't have any EXs.
Sorry, I think you cut up there.
No, I said you don't have any EXs.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I was counting today. I had less than I thought. That's always something.
You lost? Did you sell one accidentally?
No. Oh my god, I hate my account.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
EX event, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
the EX battle. Of course, our friend Macnol, Macnol, who was with us last week on the show, does a call to arms, a co-op cheat sheet, and a video compilation. So you can check out Macnol's video compilation for this Golbez event. Now, the Golbez EX battle featured one boss, not two, which is always fun. And that boss's name was, it's a funny looking dragon thing, Flawless. Now, the Flawless was weak to ice and darkness, resistant to holy. Interestingly enough, when this character died, he has 500,000 HP, I believe, in the level 100. When he died, he regenerated all of his life, 500,000 HP, did an immediate AoE brave attack, and if he broke everyone, was basically able to do another attack and almost always kill someone. So whether you're doing co-op or EX, you wanted to make sure after he lost the first round of his HP, someone wouldn't be broken, so you would survive the fallout from that. So that was something to keep in mind. But the score requirement for this was ridiculously low. What was it, 120,000 or even less?
100,000.
100,000.
Just 100K, yeah.
So based on the amount of HP, 1 million HP the boss had, and all the other bosses had, all the other enemies had, it really lowered the score requirement for us.
Note that the score requirement is deceptively low for this event because Flawless heals itself to full when it's KO'd once. That's not counted in for the score tallies, so scores tend to be lower for this event than they are for others.
Right. So, yeah, it was pretty easy. I don't think a lot of people had issue with it. Certainly, Friend Kistis and Friend Golbez's were in the rotation. What did you use, guys?
I think my team was Kefka, Bartz, and Golbez, I think. Kefka debuffed the boss, Bartz was auras, and Golbez did the deeps, and that was pretty straightforward. It didn't require much thought beyond that.
I think I ran Lilithset, Bartz, and 7, and I think I was having trouble getting the turn count down until I just put in 7. And who was my go-to DPS before that? I don't even remember. Shoot. But I was glad I was able to use Synergy 7 for a while. She was really fun in this event, and the co-op.
I use Synergy 7 for the co-op quite a bit too, and she tears the boss apart.
Yeah, 7 was great in this co-op, especially. That's who I used in my co-op runs, was 7. Because of the single boss, she was able to use her Snake Bite 3 times and then Elemental Lash to just tear it apart. I used Kuja, Vanille, Kistis, Friend Kistis for my Golbez run. So gives you a little sense I didn't have any synergy characters at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But again, with a single boss, Quistis is a monster. She just pushes the enemy back, and there's nothing it can do about it. Friend Quistis, I think I used a Friend Quistis as well. And yeah, the boss didn't take many turns.
Yeah. Yeah, Hero Cat says selfie Rem Kistis, Friend Kistis. So, yeah, there you go. Hereth, Lock, Vanille, and Butts. So there you go. Yeah. Yeah, Kate, Random Planet used Kate. Yeah, lots of different options. I think what was Macnol saying? There's just tons of different formations used in this event. So
53 unique characters were used for this EX fight.
53 out of the 92, 91 unique characters.
Are we at 93 now? I think.
I don't have any idea.
Yeah, I think we might be at 93 now. I'm not 100% sure.
Who's counting? All right. Well, anything else about Golbez before we move it right along? Anything else about Golbez?
Nope, nothing for me.
No, I think it was pretty straightforward.
Well, that brings us to Summer Festival Part 1. Woohoo! And we did get 2 character reworks and a special banner with 2, our first double EX banner, with a free poll.
What'd you guys get?
Yes, those characters were Yishtola and Onion Knight. their EXs and their reworks. The banner included Y'shtola, Onion Knight, and World of Illusion, Warrior of Light. I, in my free banner draw, pulled Squall's 15 CP.
Wow, me too, Mark. We're twins. I also got Squall 15 CP.
I think I got a Warrior of Light 15 and an Y'shtola 35 CP, both of which were immediately vendored because I already have them MLB.
Yep. Saw more than one free EX or free double EX. Let's not talk about that. I've muted the gotcha channel, so I don't have to look at that anymore.
Red also says he got a Squall 15 CP.
Really?
So.
What's up with?
He says what the hell? I think this banner is rigged.
I think it is rigged. 3 people on stream. Something's fishy, Square Enix. Joshua, if
all right.
do
you guys want to
look into that
for the reworks? Who's first?
Grace, let's talk about Y'shtola and Onion Knight.
Okay, I'm going to try to keep this relatively quick and just hit the highlights where possible. Y'shtola, as you know, was a Wave 1 Awakening character, and her Awakening was pretty bad by today's standards, all things considered. In order to fix that, they completely replaced one of her Crystal Awakening passives from slightly raising her max Brave if her HP was at max at the start of the last wave, to moderately raises her initial Brave and greatly raises her max Brave while buffed, which fixes a huge issue for her. She had no way to buff her own stats passively. So that helps. Stone got a number of changes with its extension, 2 more uses of it. Number of hits goes to 2. Its potency goes up. It can overflow up to 120% of her max Brave. And along with that, Stone turns into Stone Plus when her Brave is over 30% of her max Brave. This Stone Plus does the same thing as regular Stone, along with raising her Brave based on initial Brave before the HP attack, triggering an HP attack, I forgot about that, and having a higher turn rate. She also gets access to Brave Attack Plus after using it, which is a 1-hit Brave attack, slightly stronger than usual, and raises her own Brave by her Int Brave upon use. Medica 2 got some nice buffs. It now provides a better max Brave up buff to all allies. It raises her Brave before doing the multiplier, so now it's not quite so bad if you use it from 0 Brave. And also it raises all of the allies' Brave by 100% of Y'shtola's current Brave after using it. So it can battery quite a bit if used properly. In general, Y'shtola's Awakening just makes her a lot better. She's still a support character, and she still has turn delay, which is really amazing, especially with 8 ability uses of Stone. 8 turn delay is just great. Her EX ability is still amazing, even if it's the slowest one in the game. She has a lot of utility. She has a very strong Brave battery with Medica 2 when used properly. But she also has some quirks, as I said. Her EX is very slow charging. She doesn't provide any party auras, and she only provides a max Brave up buff to her allies. So her utility is kind of weird, especially when you look at characters like Lilithset that have huge party auras along with their Brave battery potential. Again, he still makes up for that by having some other advantages. I already spoke about the turn delay, the better damage potential with Stone Plus. It's still a quirky kit, though. It's not perfect.
So what's your final ruling on her? How do you think she holds up to the current roster?
I think she does very well, but because she doesn't bring the auras, she needs to get it from somewhere else, which means you need to pair with characters who can buff the party stats in other ways. She's strong, though. She can take a lot of turns very fast. She can keep herself going forever since her EX recharges her ability uses. She provides a ton of battery to her allies, basically making it very hard for them to get broken if played carefully. Pushing enemies' turns back is no joke. I mean, Quistis is an example of that. So she's strong, but I think she's going to slip a little bit just because she doesn't buff her allies' stats like other supports do.
Mark, have you used her? Any thoughts?
I have not, because I do not have any of her weapons but her 15 CP.
I only have her 15 P also, yeah.
I can talk extensively about Onion Knight, but yeah, I don't have firsthand experience with Y'shtola besides friend summon here and there.
I don't know. I mean, I think she's up to par now. She's definitely usable, and is a good inclusion in a lot of rosters for the future battles. But I just don't like her gimmick and kit. I don't like that she needs to maintain her brave to battery. I don't think I've ever been a fan of that. Well, in the early days, it was really strong because we didn't have any alternative batteries. But nowadays, I know it's turn efficient because you're battering 2 people at the cost of 1. So you are getting more return on your investment, but it's just not enough. I feel like I don't know. And unless your party's packing overflow, then it's overkill when you do it. And Stone she's very usable, just not my style of character, that's for sure.
She's definitely not my style of character either, but she's strong now. She's coming in on clears after her Awakening rework on the hard content, albeit she has synergy. We'll see how she holds up for the next couple of EX fights and see if people continue to use her, but I think she'll show up in teams.
Yeah, there's people defending her on Twitch, of course.
Read them for us,
she is
Mark.
great. We love Y'shtola. Nobody marries like Mary. So, yeah. So if you're a fan of Y'shtola, you know, she's changed quite a bit. She's got a new costume, fancy costume. So go on and pull for her. If you already have her, great. You'll probably get some use out of her. That brings us to Onion Knight, the OK Kid. Am I the only one with him?
Onion Knight, jeez, he had a lot of baseline changes.
Yeah.
So he used to have a magic attack up and physical attack up buff he could give himself once he had his extensions activated for Blizzard, combo, and multi-hit, respectively. That's changed. Now they're actually baked into his Sage and Ninja buffs, which is great. In addition, Sage 3 and Ninja 3 now provide a party attack aura, which is another nice little thing. That's pretty impressive.
Awesome. Yeah.
Onion Knight's 2 Crystal Awakening passive, Sage's Expertise, and Ninja Secrets are now actually the same, except which stance they're active in. So as soon as he uses, say, Blizzard combo or multi-hit, he immediately gets the large max brave up and the moderate speed up passives. So he no longer has the huge swingy max brave and speed switching between stances anymore. Along with that, his attack potencies for both Blizzard combo and multi-hit went up. Both now trigger HP attacks immediately after use. You don't have to build up stacks, so he's no longer horribly turn efficient. Sage and Ninja at 3 stacks now provide him with a very powerful Brave Attack Plus, which is 5 hits. Along with this, while Sage 2 or 3 is active, Blizzard combo does 50% HP splash damage to other targets, and multi-hit at Ninja 2 or 3 stacks can Brave overflow up to 150% max Brave. Overall, this makes Onion Knight pretty good. I've been using him and experimenting with him a bit since I have his full kit. And yeah, he's strong, and he can keep going for a long time, especially with that pretty fast charging EX ability, Blade Torrent or Meteorite, depending on his stance. He made out pretty well. He's strong. His Brave Attack pluses are nice for conserving ability uses. The fact he can Brave Overflow or do HP splash damage depending on his stance. The fact he can hit elements or melee it's a solid It's a solid rework. I think he made out pretty well.
Final thoughts
on Onion Knight? I like him. I have his full kit. I've had his full kit for a while. He does help. Does help now that he does the HP attacks, because before you still have to build up to get his stances. Both of his stances, you have to do 2 ability uses to get his full stance. But now, instead of having to do 2 brave attacks and just waste brave, now he's just doing HP damage, which is much, much better, very truthfully. But yeah, he does have longevity. His brave attacks really do hit hard, especially against weaknesses. So you could hold him up for quite some time, or you can just burn through all of his abilities like I do, and usually he'll make it to right about the end of the current content.
I don't have anyone kitted out, so I don't think I can properly assess everybody, but it seems like I've been leaning on Onion Knight a lot this event because of synergy, but I don't know out of synergy how he actually compares to, say, Golbez and Kuja fully kitted out. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that, but it seems like he might be not as strong as them. Am I crazy here? He has more versatility.
Yeah. I don't think he's doing the same kind of DPS as Kuja or Golbez, but right, he's hitting magic and melee at your discretion as opposed to both and or just one or the other. He can hit ice and melee, so I mean he does hit some different abilities, and he can do the splash damage and single target, and he's super fast with that. So I expect to use him mostly in like Heretics. He's just a solid.
Yeah.
He's just a solid other character, he's like a bench guy, right? like the second string. He's like a good second string character to come in with the big boys. Yeah. Well, right, sure. He's like a pinch hitter, right?
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, he's probably our strongest ice DPS right now, right?
Yes.
So he has that niche going on. But I do like that they took his jack of all trades design concept and just made him above average at both, which I think is how they should be. So, props to Onion Knight. He's fun to play as for sure.
Yeah, and obviously, as we've discussed, he isn't tippity top of the damage, but he brings a lot of utility, I think, and he's also a lot faster than Golbez. So
Yes.
if you need someone to take more turns and you need someone to shave, Onion Knight's probably going to get those turns faster and be able to get it done sooner than Golbez will, especially if you're dealing with fast enemies.
And again, once he revs up, he can switch between Ninja 3, Sage 3 by just going back and forth between abilities. So, he doesn't fall off either, like Golbez or like Kuja can potentially. He'll switch back and forth and do what you need him to do when you need him to do it, which is great in certain heretic fights where you need to go from magic to melee or elemental to non-elemental. So like I said, I feel like that's where I'm going to use him most. But Meteor Foreign says, two flaws for Onion Knight, in my opinion. No HP plus, which I agree, that is kind of an issue, and no overflow on Meteorite. And I, again, agree. His Meteorite EX, because his EX is two-handed, twofold, it just caps all the time and is not doing as much damage as it could, very truthfully. So, yeah.
Random NJ says, once Renoa arrives, we will quickly forget about Onion Knight. Let's not kid ourselves.
Well,
and
again,
at this,
yeah, in your main party, yeah. I mean, if you're going best party, best content, there might be some fights that you're going to want to bring Onion Knight, but right, like I said, I would not have pulled for him, but I already had his EX, so it's just a nice bonus and a nice boost to my roster, very truthfully. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah, and in their defense, these reworks are to help help people like me who have nothing else boost these old characters up to be usable. Because people are going to be talking about Cloud and Furion, and word is that they have the better reworks, which is true, but when entering the Cosmos age, they're still niche picks. Like, they're not your first stringers. You bring them if they fit your team comp, but they're not like, these reworks aren't supposed to give you flat out meta characters off the bat. They're supposed to help your roster stay competitive, which they do, which I really appreciate. And at this rate, I can't wait till Renoa comes out so people stop talking about Renoa, because I'm over it. It's been like 2-3 months, and I get it, and she's gonna be strong, and she's gonna be awesome. But I hope we start theorizing about other characters, and I can't wait for that.
You don't think people are going to continue to talk about Renoa after she drops?
No, I think a week after she drops, it's going to be Vayne. that they won't shut up about. And
Oh,
then
fair
after
enough.
Vayne,
Yeah.
and then after Vayne, GL's knowledge is a lot more shaky. So,
Well,
we'll
no.
see who they jump to next.
Yeah, I mean after
Charlotta, a Warrior of Light.
Noctis.
Right?
Don't forget Noctis.
Warrior of Light, Noctis.
You don't hear a lot of Noctis hype in GL, but you do hear a ton of Warrior of Light and Vayne hype. So I think those will be the focal points.
Yeah, I think like you said, I do agree. As soon as Renoa comes, you're going to start hearing about Vayne, who's probably going to be in August, and after Vayne, Warrior of Light, and then you're looking down the line at Charlotta or Ultimacia. So,
and I'm sure a lot of like great characters will be skipped over.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with the hype is just that GL hype's generated by when JP has them, and they perform really well in JP for a long time. So there's certain characters, like for example, we had the launch meta, right? And from launch to Kuja, I think everyone glossed over all the units between there. Erole and others on our server were talking about how Palom and Maria did not get the credit they deserve.
All right. Well, in addition to character reworks, in addition to a banner, we also got summer event called Summer Chasm 1, because we're going to get another one. So Summer Chasm 1 Catalyst, Rising, and Pitch. These are the Heretic style events, or the Chasm style events, where you need to bring different characters for the first 3, clear all of the requirements to open the final one. Where's there 4? The first 3 fights, and then that opens the final fight. These are synergy fights, so you can bring Onion Knight, Warrior of Light, Y'shtola, and Golbez. So if you look at my mine here, all 3 of mine, let me pull it up on camera here. All 3 of my events look like this, if you can see it. Warrior of Light, Onion Knight, and Golbez. Now note that my Warrior of Light does not have his EX. My Golbez does not have his EX. So I was able to clear Summer Chasm 1 Catalyst, Summer Chasm 1 Rising, and Summer Chasm Pitch, except for the final fight, which is the level 120, just with Warrior of Light, Onion Knight, and Golbez without their EXs. So they're not super difficult. I'm sure a lot of people who maybe didn't have any synergy brought a lot of different things. So what did you guys think of those?
Are we talking about
fights?
Just the general fights, or the
well, yeah, I mean, let's talk about just in general those 3 sets of events, and then we can talk about co-op and the most difficult one.
So I did what you did and brought Golbez and Onion Knight for everything. I didn't have their kits. Onion Knight, I didn't have the EX. Golbez, I only had the 35, and then I just put a battery on them, and I breezed through everything except for the 120. So these fights are so biased for Golbez and Onion Knight.
They are definitely
ridiculous.
biased for them. I will say one thing: in the pitch level versions of them, some of them can get scary with HP damage if you're not watching for it. For example, there's an Edge who, if you give him a turn, he will get his evade buff up, and then he restores Brave, and then he can HP attack you. And if you're low from an earlier wave, that can be scary. X-Def can do an AoE HP attack, the mannequin for him. And the scariest wave, I have to say, is the one that had Pinello in it, because she sped up the whole enemy team, and I had trouble killing them before they started to kill me.
Wadabu in chat wants to remind us to mention the Meteor meta that we keep forgetting to. That this is the Summer of Meteors, where all the strong characters are just chucking meteors nonstop, and it's going to continue for a while. I think so. It started with Golbez, I believe, right? And then you get Cloud's rework coming up. Oh wait, he made a list in chat, so I don't have to keep thinking. So Golbez, Onion Knight EX, Renoa EX, VV EX, Jekt EX, Sephiroth EX. They all just summon meteors.
Yep.
I think this was the summer where DFFOO wasn't doing that good in JP, so they decided to recycle the same animation for 4.
I don't know about that, but sure, we'll go over
Yeah,
it.
why not? This conspiracy theory has been brought to you by Mino.
Oh, Kefka, Red wants to throw in.
Yeah.
And also Ishtola's reworked stone. So
there you go.
So now we're turning meteors into any rocks thrown.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
just pretty much any yeah, anything thrown at anybody else. Thanos.
Isn't that
Thanos has meteor? So
isn't that what a meteor is? Like a rock that
it's
God throws
just
at
a
Earth?
big
Meteors
rock.
are large enough rock.
Yeah.
Meteorites are smaller rocks.
Yeah, like a large rock. Yeah, coming at a big enough distance at a big enough speed. Yeah. So yeah, which? Oh, his Brave Plus, right? His meteor. Yeah, there you go, Red. Thank you. Forgot to mention all of the enemies in these 3 sets of battles are Mankins. Each of these sets of Mankins have different weaknesses, so you just check on what you're doing. The co-op one, I assume people have been doing the quest level 80 co-op. Is anybody doing different co-ops besides that? I would assume the one that people are grinding for co-op is the Power and Magic Chasm Rising quest level 80, which is 3 waves of Mankins, and I think it's just 2 each. So lots of Golbez and Onion Knights in those co-ops. Any other tips? I'm not sure there's any particular things you need to watch out for those co-ops.
Not really. I mean, you don't want Vaughn to come out of a break when his turn comes up and get one of his abilities off, because that can do a lot of damage. Other than that, if you have at least one Golbez in the team, everything's dying too fast to worry about. I will mention that we do have a beatback challenge going on for this co-op fight. That's based on the number of gold tokens collected in the co-ops. And we're currently, I think, about halfway there to the max reward. So we still have a little bit of time to go. This is the first one in a while we haven't blown out of the water in like 1 or 2.
Is it because the count is low? Because I'm sure they're including part 2 in this as well.
I don't know. It's specifically called out about it as part of part 1, but let me double check.
Okay, and then the tidbit I wanted to mention earlier was that we were told that the level 40 co-op, or whatever the lower level one is, it doesn't give you a dojas. It gives you a dogas if you bell it.
Oh, okay,
so I'm sure no one's running that one.
Right, because the level 80 does give you idojas for
bells,
Golbez.
Yes.
Okay, Mino, I pulled it up. It's specifically the beatback challenge for Summer Chasm 1.
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
And we are still a ways off. The max rewards for it are at 30 million gold tokens collected, and we're under 15 million gold tokens collected.
Wow.
Well, it's only been out for like 2 days, and we have another 7 days, so we should be fine.
Just don't forget to farm if you are ignoring it.
Every day.
Yeah, I burned my
after
bells.
the show.
Yeah.
And remember, you are getting Idojas if you're doing the Rising version of the co-op. So the Idojas are always nice.
So let's go to Pitch, quest level 120, where you have 6 Mankins, Onion Knight, Cloud of Darkness, Bartz, X-Death, Vaughn, and Vayne. Those are good protagonist, antagonist pairings. I just literally realized that.
Wow.
I've played it so many times. I didn't realize it was same game protagonist antagonist pairings. That's funny. Since we don't have, even in Japan, X-Death and Cloud of Darkness, I sometimes forget that they exist. But
I just noticed something.
This
set of enemies is actually based on Japan's first summer banner, isn't it? They had Vaughn, Bartz, and Onion Knight on a banner together. I think.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and then the part 2, it's I know Cloud and Sephiroth are one of the waves. I don't remember the rest because I'm.
There should be a Furion wave.
Yeah, Furion and Emperor, and then.
Interesting.
Is it Ishtola?
I can't remember. No, it isn't Ishtola. I don't remember who the last.
Crap. Oh, Tidus.
Tidus.
There you go. Tidus and Seymour. Right.
All right. So how did this one
And-
treat you?
Who's starting? Because I have the worst story. So should that be first or last?
Well, I'm pretty sure Kreese used
I'll go
Golbez.
first. You are correct. I used Golbez, Onion Knight, and Lillicet as my team, and I
Oh.
brought an Ishtola friend,
How did
mostly
that
just for
treat
the
you?
healing.
With-
I one-shot it. I will say I was out of ability uses at the end. I had to start playing conservatively on the last wave, but my strategy was try to play safe with ability uses, try to split them evenly between the waves. I summoned on wave 2 actually to avoid the AoE HP attack from X Death, and then brought in Ishtola on the final wave to delay Vayne and also to restore HP I lost on the first wave of the fight. And I actually replaced Golbez because he was running out of ability uses. So I swapped out Golbez, my strongest damage dealer, for Ishtola, just because of the ability use issue.
Mm.
I think I was done in about 70 turns.
I beat it in exactly 70 turns, my first go, and I brought Onion Knight, who ran out of ability uses, Kistis, and Vanille, who is like my MVP right now. And I did friend Golbez. But yeah, it was not super easy. But thankfully,
Oh, I just double checked.
Onion
It was
Knight helped.
67 turns for me.
Oh, yes. Well, you had Golbez, so.
No, it's
I
just
was-
clarifying because I said 70 before. I didn't mean anything by that.
Oh, yeah. No, you did. It's okay. No, you got it. You're better. No, I'm kidding. No, yes, I think if you do have any of the synergy characters, this certainly was a little bit easier. Mino, if you don't have any of the synergy characters and you haven't pulled any decent EXs recently, how was this fight for you?
This was, I want to say, is it the hardest fight I've had that I had to complete? Well, I don't. It's a story, guys. So this is the first time I had to make 3 runs to fulfill all the complete conditions. It was I almost gave up because I just wanted to wait for Lena and Cloud, because I'm pretty sure as soon as Cloud hits, this would have been a lot easier. But I guess I had nothing else to do in the game, so I kept trying. Holy crap! So as a reminder of my story, the last EX I pulled was Lightning EX. It's 2.5 months ago. I'm looking at the chart. So that's the last time I had an EX. The only DPS EXs I have are Beatrix and Lightning. So
You also have Kane.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting he exists because I would never in my right mind bring him into anything. Oh, I keep forgetting. Thank you, but Lightning EX 2.5 months ago is still my newest EX, and I've been throwing tickets all the time, guys. I'm not crazy hoarding like 5 DPZ. I'm throwing tickets, but I haven't been lucky, and I've had to throw so many team comps at this thing, and I just couldn't get it under 110 turns. That was the biggest thing that was killing. HP requirement, no problem. Score I even got by being over because I kept being around. I ran it like 7 times and I kept getting like between 114 turns and 121 turns, and I just could not shave this turn count, and it was frustrating because I realized how skewed this is to AoE, right? Like Kuja and Golbez. If I only had the single targets, it was taking forever to knock them down. So in the end, let's see, I have my 3 team comps written down. So for score, I ran Onion Knight, Bart's Lillicet. For the HP requirement, I did Onion Knight, Bart's Kate Sith. And finally, for turns, I did Onion Knight, Lightning, and Bart's. And so I leaned so hard on Onion Knight here. I was so tempted to pull for his EX or pull for Golbez because I knew a single EX would have gotten me everything in one run. But I'm starting to feel the limits of my roster, guys. Like,
Well,
it's a harder. Yeah.
Macnol wants to remind us that on the
Oh,
call to
I want to get
arms,
to that. I want to get to that.
on the call
we'll
to
get to that.
arms.
I'll put that on at the end.
Okay.
But
Keep going.
basically, yeah. So I mean, like, it was a hard reminder. This is a gacha game because holy crap, no new weapons in 2.5 months. So the past events have been a little more of a struggle. I know, like, every time we compare, Increase and Mark one-shot everything, right? And I think starting with an event or two ago, even with Golbez, it took me 3 tries, but it still took me 3 legit tries to tune my comp, where they just brought and was like, oh, that was the score requirement? Whoops, I'm done. So I thought it wasn't a big deal because garbage time, but this EX, these summer EXs are a step up for sure.
I want to comment a little bit on that, and I want to say that I think this is following the pattern we've seen for other Awakening EX Heretics in the past, where synergy makes a huge difference in whether people had difficulty or not. Because that's been the pattern for Heretics associated with Awakening waves. If you had synergy characters for that wave, you had a much easier time than if you had no synergy or you had very little synergy. And this seems to be following that pattern pretty closely. It was the people who had synergy who had the easiest time going about it.
Yeah. I guess I can see that. I'm hoping it eases up as we go forward. I don't know. This is probably going to be my longest pull drought, just because all of these characters these 2 months seemed pretty boring to me. Once we start reaching the 70 eras, the new characters look a lot more fun.
Just remember, you're the one calling this garbage time, and if you're struggling now, you need to start pulling soon.
Well, I got it, okay? I got through it. I got through it with a single EX. So I did the 3 runs with 3 comps, and only one of those characters had an EX. So I'm still calling garbage. I'm like, it can't be that bad if I can do it. Plus, we're going to get to Macnil's. Basically, I went through all this struggle, and then Macnil put the call to arms up afterwards, and then immediately someone put the old launch meta of Selfie, Kate, and Lael, and I just felt so stupid because I struggled so hard when somebody could have shown me how to just knock it out in one run with characters I already had.
I also want to say that even before that launch meta clear was posted, I was theorizing on whether a launch meta fight or team would work for this, because Mankins have less chase HP than most bosses we face. It's usually 20 instead of the 40, which means I was triggering launches accidentally with my team comp at a couple places. And it made me think, well, if you bring a Lael with a gravity debuff, all of a sudden you can launch a lot easier. And that'd be a way to help shave turns and get score up.
Slides, yeah, I was thinking about that too, because when I was giving up on turns and just going for the score is not that bad to get. You can be over the turns and still get it, because like you said, a lot of natural launches occur. So I was seeing that inflate my score. Slides asking, how many tickets do I have after not pulling for 2 months? 0, because I still spend all of my tickets. Quistis was infamously 360 tickets with no luck. And then everything else not as much as that, but holy crap, did I throw I threw every single summon board ticket I had at Quistis, and then all the leftovers were like 60 something at Kefka, and since then it's just been, just dump tickets whenever I can. But man, do I know this fight intimately now. I don't know if anyone needs this in-depth of a strategy, but I know that I had to do single target focus for each wave. For me, I definitely took out Cloud of Darkness first in the first wave. I know a lot of people say Onion Knight because he can break instantly, but because none of his abilities have a Brave plus HP, I was just taking the breaks. It wasn't a big deal. Cloud of Darkness had a Brave plus HP that potentially killed my characters, and the blind really held me back on turns too. You get unlucky. And then in the second wave, obviously, I had to summon the second wave every time to avoid X-Death Grand Cross, because holy crap, I did not have wiggle room to bring a healer. So I blew my summon there. And then with the final wave, everyone says kill Vaughn first, but I also did Vayne because I forget. Oh, just Vayne's tanky, and I wanted to do my Golbez summon on him. Vaughn, as long as you keep broken, he's not going to hurt you. He's going to hit you for like 1,500 brave attack. So, but holy crap, it was a struggle, and I'm just crossing my fingers that Cloud's going to carry me through part 2, and I'll make it to Jack, because I'm pulling on Jack. That's the next DPS for sure I'm getting, and he's gotta help me until garbage time's over, right, guys? Like that's really.
Again, is it really garbage time if you're struggling?
if I get another, well, I mean, look, none of you guys are struggling because you guys are playing the game correctly, right?
Yeah,
I think
that's correct.
the game wasn't intended for you not to have any roster updates for 2.5 months.
Yeah.
So I'm still insisting this is garbage. Someone cleared it with old launch meta. Like Macnell said, if that had been around when I was attempting, I probably would not have had this much trouble. And I still did it with my garbage EX-less roster. So I'm still maintaining its garbage time.
Slide, did you use lightning in your clear of the 120? And if you used lightning, who else did you use? What did I want to say here? I forget what I was going to say. Lightning, Vanille, Kistis. Oh, that's a good team. Yeah. But poor Mino does not have Kistis or Vanille. So
I don't have anything.
Yep. Couldn't take advantage of that. I just need to go back and say how awesome Vanille is. I love Vanille. Anyway, I think CSAM and Arola used Pinello.
They did, and they completed it with Pinello. Her
Yeah.
buffs are pretty nice with Awakening. She's definitely underappreciated.
I think my favorite, of course, Kem Smith is a big fan of Yuffie, and Kem used Yuffie to steal Onion Knight's buffs.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Which
and,
makes Yuffie ridiculously powerful. And gives her party buffs. Stealing Onion Knight's party buffs.
That's so clever. I love these characters. I mean, these players that are so dedicated to their characters. Also, all of these gimmicky runs had Golbez in them. So, like Ken Smith did the Yuffie thing, but she also had Golbez, and I feel like when you bring Golbez, you have a lot of wiggle room.
Kem actually used Y'shtola and Kistis with Yuffie.
Oh, damn. Okay, never mind. I thought she had Golbez for some reason, but still, Y'shtola and I wish I had Quistis. I should have pulled on Quistis, honestly.
You did.
Whatever. I have 3 pities now, guys, and I'm gonna use them all by like the next 2 weeks with my luck. Watch.
There you go. All right. What did we get? We got, I think, everything in that event, correct? Anything else on the first part of Summer Festival 1? No?
I'll just close out by saying that I was surprised at how much content there was with the Summer Festival Part 1. I was not expecting 3 different levels of a Heretic event to come. I thought maybe we'd get a single batch plus a co-op plus an EX fight. I didn't think we'd get this much. So it was a nice surprise. Some of it was easier than other stuff, but it was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well, and I hope you're all enjoying it. I remind you, if you're struggling, come on down to the TCC Discord, and we will try to help you out. And you can check that out if you go to tccpodcast.com. You'll find the link to our Discord and invitation. Click on that, and you'll join up, and we'll all kinds of different ways to help you there. So some discussion. So last week we talked a little bit about pull strategy. Heard more about pull strategy this week. Josepher did a great video on looking ahead and talking about pulling for the future. So I encourage you to go check out Josepher's video on YouTube about his plan, his personal plan, pulling forward. A conversation that kind of keeps coming up again as new EX Plus and Reworks are announced and are data mined and are shared and actually hit Japan is it really a good idea to pull for characters now for their EX Plus in mind? Is it a good idea to pull for a character today? For example, Rosa. Rosa gets a rework and an EX Plus. That's very good. A lot of people in Japan are using Rosa to complete a lot of content. So
the same is true of Y'shtola right now. Y'shtola got an amazing EX Plus, and everyone who has her kit seems to be happy to use her.
Onion Knight, not a terrible kit for his EX Plus either, I believe. The current banner is Y'shtola, Onion Knight, It is a double EX banner, so maybe that's a better way to pull. I know Cloud Banner Guy 5D, one of his ideas is to save gems until they get the double EX banners to try to get as many EXs as possible with the least number of draws, regardless of what the EXs are, because at some point, hopefully, they'll be good. So that's a decent strategy, and if you got 600,000 gems like he does, who cares? Your strategy is probably pretty valid. But for, the general populace who is not sitting on 500, 600, or 1,000,000 gems, like several of our listeners here live on Twitch, is it a good thing to say, oh, well, I'm going to get Y'shtola right now for when her EX plus comes? Or what would be some pros and cons about that? I have some ideas, but
I'll argue pro, because I am by far the most unluckiest player among us, and so I have really been planning for rock bottom. Like, I am preparing to pity every banner, not giving myself any illusions that Lena's only going to take me like 25k or something and save up. Every banner I'm planning on pulling now is pity ready. So, Kreese, are you for or against this strat?
I am against pulling for the future, at least this far in the future. We're still, 6 months out from the first EX Plus hitting us if we follow Japan's timeline. And it seems unreasonable for us to plan our pulls for characters now that we have no intention of using now. For example, when I posted my analysis, one of the first things that came up was someone saying, should I pull for Y'shtola now considering she's amazing with EX Plus? And there were mixed responses from the Reddit community. Some said yes, some said no. And my opinion is no. If you have no intention to use a character like Y'shtola now or Rosa now, don't pull for them now. Their weapons come back when their EX pluses arrive, or when their enhancements arrive, when their 70s arrive. It's stupid to pull for something you have no intention of using when resources can be very tight and your resources might be better spent now. For example, Mino almost pulled to complete this Heretic, but he could save instead for characters he wants and will actually use more often.
Yeah, I agree with you on that front, as in don't pull characters you're not going to use, and pulling for the now is important. All these people who, once they got launch meta, said hoarding till Renoa. I wonder how many of them actually hoarded until Renoa, because you've got to hit some rough spots like me, unless they get really lucky and start getting EXs off tickets constantly, which some people do. But if you're like me and you've just struck out with tickets for 2.5 months, no new EXs, because I don't count tickets as part of the plan. Unless you're going to pity and get it for sure, it's not part of the plan, right? You just luck into it. So with that, I agree with you. People should be more focused on the present, but because of my shit luck, my attitude has changed, as in what I pull for. EX Plus news from Japan does change how I pull for, or at least it's considered strongly, because I want a character that I want to play now and will be at least usable in the future. So, for example, Zach coming up is an example of this, because I think he's strong when he launches for a little bit. Everyone's going to say Warrior of Light is going to power creep him in a month later. But I think he's strong when he comes out. He's still viable for a lot of Cosmos. And his EX Plus looks amazing too. And his EX Plus partner is Ignis, who I have no interest in. So, for me, Zach is a pull now character, because he holds up in the future and I don't care about his partner. Whereas I think we talked about in the past with Rosa, I could pass on Rosa because she's not needed now. And her partner in the future is Sabin, who I'm 100% pulling for. So I know I should just wait for that banner. Otherwise, I pull Rosa now, pull Sabin later, then, it's such a waste of resources. So in that way, EX Plus has been affecting how I decide my pulls. Do you have anything to say on that?
I think it's fair for future planning to impact your decisions, but if you're saying, I can't beat this content now, but there's a great banner up that I could use these characters, I have nothing for them, they would help me clear this content, but I'm not going to pull on them now because I know in 8 months there'll be a banner that I want to pull on more that'll have this character on it. That's a stupid reason to not pull now.
Ah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it depends. I mean, I guess for this current banner, for example, because I was kind of stuck on the content, I was like, huh, I could throw a few pulls on it if I get lucky with Istola. You know, she's okay. And she'll get me through this event now. I'll probably bench her forever, but then she'll pick back up in 70 is how I was thinking. Like, do you think that's a valid strategy?
That's a valid strategy. And again, another thing I want to bring up is that nothing is set in stone.
Right.
We tend to follow patterns that Japan followed, but nothing is going to be exactly the same,
Right.
guaranteed. They could easily mess with us and change partners on especially story chapter banners. For example, maybe Zach won't be with Ignis's story chapter. Maybe he will appear on a different banner and it'll be someone else with Ignis. We don't know.
Well,
It's 8 months in the future.
Look at these banners that we currently have, these summer banners. In Japan, these were triple EX banners.
That's you're
And
right.
we
yeah.
don't have
And that
them.
was part of the reason I think Cloud Banner guy used to not use his gems on these banners.
Yeah.
He was expecting triple EXs. He didn't get the triple EXs, so he decided to throw tickets instead.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you guys are right. They can throw us all these oddballs. I think for the most part, 90% of the event banners and story banners should be the same. I think for the most part. We did get one change up with Zell
Fang.
back in Fang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
who knows if they're going to change that back up when her LC comes back.
Right.
I'm really curious what they do. You're right that things will change, but the power will generally stay the same unless you're talking about like the special A dojas with Sarah, right? For example, Sarah was a top tier character in Japan both when she got her EX and her EX plus, but that was also because of her A dojas. If we get the EX without that, you know, that completely, we're just playing a different game here. So you're right, we can't completely rely on JP for information. Mark, do you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on why, like you said, why you're pulling. I think you should mostly think about, yeah, the characters you'd like to pull on, the characters you like, the characters you're interested in, and the characters that will help you. I think Kreese said it best once. The characters that will help you keep playing, or maybe it was Manta said this, characters that will keep you playing the game. You know, pull on characters who will keep you playing the game. As opposed to, you know, not pulling and then not being able to play the game, or, you know, waiting for this character when one of the issues with, you know, Penelo's EX and EX Plus is released and she's awesome, so, you know, I'm going to save to Penelo. Well, by the time Penelo comes, we're going to know 12 other characters who are probably going to be better. Because we're always going to be that much behind
and
Japan.
I want to thanks Mark for bringing that up. We're always going to be 8 months behind Japan. By the time we get to that Sabin Rosa double EX plus banner, maybe we'll see that there is a banner 6 months from then that has Sabin Ultra EX weapon plus his EX plus or something like that. Then you'll be like, well, I could wait another 6 months to get that all together instead of pulling now. And you're basically making yourself a moving goalpost.
I hold on. So I need to address chat for a second. But for in that case, for me, I'm pulling like I'm pulling all the EXs. I'm almost half grateful for you that you made me pull Kane. Almost, not actually, but because I have been having a lot of fun with Kane, and I do actually have pity gems set aside for all my favorite characters. Jekt is not a meta pick, but I am prepared to go all in on him. Sabin as well. So that won't affect my decision personally. Just that Rosa, I wasn't too hot on. But when she's coming with a favorite character, then that's a no-brainer to save for it. But if it was my favorite character, I'm not waiting for my favorite characters. I'll pull them right away. Oh, sorry. Some random planet. I was going to address his question, but someone in chat already did because he said, I could have sworn they said all events will include A dojas now, so Sarah will be getting her A dojas. But as Tatsumi has said, it's because JP had special rework A dojas, and we still haven't gotten them when JP got them when they first came out around Palom's LC. So unless she gets those special A dojas, like each one giving her like a plus 20% or plus 40% max brave and attack aura, Every time there's a debuff on the target, you could stack that up to 3 times. That's what made her so strong. We're not going to be playing the same Sarah. So, but yeah, I mean, look, pull for now, pull for favorites. The only thing I will argue is that I do 100% look at, for example, I was on the fence about Jack because I knew Lulu's EX is coming with him in JP. Then I saw it, realized, all right, I'm okay with that. I'm not too interested in the new Lulu, so I'm safe pulling now and not missing out late. Oh shit, no, I just fell into what you were talking about.
Yeah, and again, you fall into the trap. What if Lulu's EX and EX Plus had turned out to be amazing and be like, okay, I'm gonna skip Jack now. But then when Lulu's Lost Chapter came around and that banner was there, you saw that 8 months down the line there was an even better banner with Jacked on, and you're like, well, I don't really care about Lulu. I'll wait for Jacked until then. And again, it's the moving goalpost thing. There's always going to be something better in Japan, and looking too far ahead can be damning.
You know, I think the best thing to do in terms of, I mean, you like Jet, pull for Jet. I mean, if it's a character you like and a character you know you can use, I don't see why you shouldn't pull for them. You know, the Renoa argument isn't an argument for me because she's arguably my favorite character in Final Fantasy. So I'm going to pull for her regardless of how her EX Plus is. Like I don't care. I'm gonna pull for her because I like the character. Even if she was trash, I would get the character. She's not. She's gonna be really, really powerful for a good chunk of time. So I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna enjoy her. And then so your argument's like, oh, a year from now she's not gonna be good. Well, who freaking cares about a year from now? Could be dead a year from now. The game could not be in existence a year from now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to play the game today, yes, with some thinking forward in the future. Because there are characters like Warrior of Light, I keep saying World of Illusion, Warrior of Light, who's really good for a long time. There are characters like Ultimacia, who is just bonkers broken and who has been on a run in Japan for months. She's probably still going to be really good. Now, they might push her back like they did Kucha or do something else, but, she's still arguably going to be good. So I think it's good to have those characters in mind. And again, I kind of look 6 months ahead and try to have a strategy for what I'm going to pull. But, not for, I'm going to pull this EX 3 months from now so that 12 months from now I have a really good character. No, I'm looking 3 months from now to pull for a character that's going to be good 3 months from now. The idea of, yeah. But I get the idea that, okay, I like this character, but they're coming back on a better banner. So, if they're not my favorite, maybe I'll wait to get both of them at a different time. You can't pull on everything, and so you have to pick and choose.
To piggyback off of that, Mark, I think you should pull your favorites because they could become really good in the next tuning pass.
Right.
Like for example, I went for Edgar EX, even though even now in Japan he hasn't been shining at all ever. But I know maybe someday he will. Like I remember pulling for Warrior of Lights 35 when the game first came out on Saban's event, just because I like the character. And I think you will be rewarded at some point. You have to be. Like, for example, Irole and her love of Penelo. Now Penelo's looking very, very strong in Japan. The trailer's out on Twitter, by the way, of her new
Oh,
EX.
good. So we just saw that, and we're very impressed. We had
Exactly.
no previous information.
Shut up, Mark. And so I'm saying, like, you got to pull over favorites. I think, Mark, you said before, you got to balance it with the meta here and there to carry it. And to address the specific Renoa thing, everyone's talking about Renoa EX Plus is lackluster. Well, who cares? She still lasted 2+ months, and now that's very valuable. Lots of units don't even get that. But
that doesn't mean just to go back, because people are saying, well, skip Renoa. You don't have to pull on Renoa right now, regardless. If you got Golbez, if you got Kuja. Even if you didn't get any of them, there's always going to be another character. Vane's coming out, Sephiroth's coming out. There's always going to be other characters coming out.
The twins are being neglected in a lot of the hype, but from my understanding, they are pretty strong for a little while.
Wadabu is saying Edgar EX looks like it's coming out in JP. EX Plus is coming out in JP soon. Yeah, but when I pulled during the Realm event, I had no idea like what it's even gonna be. So I'm saying like I will pull favorites without knowing the future on faith that I'll have fun at least. Like, with Kane, I have no idea what the hell's gonna happen, and like I said, I'm grateful that Kreese made me do it because I had a hell of a lot of fun with him the last month and a half when he was usable during garbage time. That was pretty fun.
I just want to mention a counterpoint that Ouroboros in chat said that he's planning not to pull for Lena, even if she's super strong, because he doesn't have any attachment to her. And I feel that's fair. It's always better to pull for someone or not to pull for someone based on whether you like them or not. And if you skip a couple good characters because you don't like them, but you're still pulling other characters, then you'll probably be fine. And as long as you're not basing all of your judgments on this future site, you'll probably be okay. That's the concern I have, is that people are using future sight too much in their planning strategies to the point where they put themselves in this position where nothing is ever good enough to pull on, because there's always going to be something better. There always will be. And we know there's always going to be something better. We know there will be 70 Awakenings, and that's going to invalidate a bunch of characters. We know we're going to get Cosmos difficulty, and that's going to invalidate a lot of characters. We know there's going to be a Chaos difficulty, and that's going to invalidate the entire roster until they get EX+. It's silly not to pull for someone now because they might not be useful in Chaos right away.
It's also, I want to say, I feel like as long as you're pulling regularly, you'll be fine. As in, I feel like if you're getting a new EX every month, or even like 2, you're going to be fine. Maybe they won't last the longest, but I think as long as you're pulling regularly, the game is designed to make it doable. For example, Vanille right now, everyone was trashing Vanille, right? Saying she doesn't last, but if you pull Vanille for that month of Ifrit boards and every other content, even now, right? Mark brought her on the newest fight. Or somebody did.
Yeah, I did.
And like, like these characters will last at least throughout the month. Even if they're not the best pick, as long as you're getting a new toy every month, I think you're going to be fine. And I think the game allows you to get at least pity something every month and a half that we've calculated out. So I don't think you need to plan to beat everything. A lot of people are paranoid about that. I think as long as you're updating your roster, unlike me, you're fine. I feel like if I pulled any EX within the last 2 months, I wouldn't be struggling. Even then, I'm slightly edging it through. Same with Chaos and Cosmos. I'm sure if you pull on the banner that they come with, or at least the banners around them, you'll be able to get through them. I mean, I'm sure it's not the best way to see it, but it also means no one's actually trash, I think. And if you look to the long-term investment, it could really hurt your enjoyment of the game.
I think Macnol and the Call to Arms threads have really highlighted that you can use a lot of characters that people deem bad or trash and get through content just fine. You might require some strategizing or some team design or some better gameplay, but you can still do it. You do not need the best of the best to complete this content.
Yeah. Well, we'll have more conversation about that. If you have any questions or topics you would like us to discuss, you can always message me on Discord. You can email us at our email. You can respond to us on Twitter, reach out to us on Facebook. All of those things can be found at tccpodcast.com. Yes, Eamon is asking, no guest today. No, there is no guest today. The guests were something we were doing just for a few weeks in a row, and you know, it wasn't something we were going to continuously do every single week. So we thought this week it would just be the 3 of us. We may have a special guest next week with some of the stuff that's coming out, but we'll see how their schedule is. But yeah, so don't expect a guest every single week, but there will be guests to come. So Shara, you let us know when you want to be on. So
yeah, we'll still take guests. I just don't think it'll be a permanent, regular thing.
No.
I mean, I'm kind of insulted. Are we 3 not enough for you guys? Because
I think the idea is that everyone wants Shara.
but yeah, I mean, we'll still be having guests. It just won't be a permanent thing. It'll be a special occasion thing, guys.
Well, we love
So we're
having
gonna have Shara next week. Don't worry,
yeah,
Shara will be on the show.
Oh,
we
and
love
before
having
we go,
Australians on.
do
So.
we want to at least touch on like Lena's concept, or are we
Oh
saving that
yeah,
all
sure.
for
No, we can talk a little bit about Lena. Yeah,
Yeah, because
we
I
we
feel like
have coming next week. I think we won't have Summer Festival 2 before we meet next time. No, we will be
right.
hitting as we stream.
Yes.
So between now and next week when we stream, the only thing we're gonna get is Lena Lost Chapter, which does give us Lena's Awakening and her EX. So we don't need to go into great detail, but just because there's some people talking about Lena, what's Lena bring you, and is she someone who you should think about pulling on?
Crease, you're our guy. You want to cover this?
I'm not going to touch on her whole kit. I'm just going to say that if you know what Lena does at level 50, she's going to do it better at level 60 with all the support perks you expect in this era. She'll get a passive aura that buffs stats for the party. She gets another buff aura from her EX that makes it that helps even further. She provides a lot of HP regen. She provides debuff immunity. She provides a massive Brave Down debuff. She just does a lot of nice things for the team that makes her very good in many ways. Um, she's going to be a solid character, but I think we should hold on talking about this
Yeah.
mostly for next week when we
Right,
have her
right.
kit.
Of course. I just wanted to say because it'll be like 4 or 5. It'll be 5 days after her release. Since if people are looking to pull, the only thing I want to expand on what Crease has already said is she brings Brave Regen. She brings heal over time, which we all know is valuable and has been kind of leaving the meta for a bit, right? Because I think Kate Sith and Aiko's heal over time haven't been keeping up with the damage.
Right.
Whereas,
Yeah, Lena's is actually the strongest HP regen we
yeah,
have in the game. Even at level 50, it's better than anyone else's.
yeah, Lena is bringing heals over time back with a vengeance. She's bringing brave regens back with a vengeance, and debuff immunity, and that's those niches which she has so many of can be very valuable over time. So if that sounds like something that works with your party, mainly the healing and the brave regen and the debuff immunity, then that's something you should consider. But as we've just said, I don't think anyone is mandatory and everyone's a safe skip. Just keep team building in mind. Oh, I want to push that when we hit Cosmos.
Well,
Maybe we should
and
talk about team
Yeah.
building next week if we have time.
yeah,
Next week?
I think we can
All
talk
right,
a
I was
little
gonna
bit
say.
about team building um, in more detail because I do, Josepher in his video about how he was pulling for the next year made a good point about, you know, if you get Lena, she's going to be a good support for a good chunk of time. But there are other good supports in that time frame. If you don't want
Yeah.
Lena, who can work really good. Renault is a great DPS character, but there are other DPS characters that before and after her work really good. So if you have a good solid support, a good solid DPS, and maybe a utility character like Kistis, Vanille, those characters that do special, unique things, you kind of keep it in that kind of cycle of, okay, do I have a decent DPS character for this era, a decent support character for this era? Do I have some specialized characters here and there when I need them?
The
But yeah,
the last thing I sorry.
no, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Mark.
No,
My
I'm
bad.
done. I'm done.
Oh, I was gonna say the last thing I just wanted to say is that before you pull on Lena, because so many people are hyping her as the must pull support, is that we want to do a whole segment on this later, especially when Cosmos and Chaos comes, because the game's gonna start changing. Cosmos is gonna be that any unit that comes out during Cosmos is viable for all of Cosmos, and then when Chaos comes out and they have the far ends of the dimension, we got a preview already. All these heretics where you can't reuse characters. The emphasis on the game isn't pulling for metas anymore; it's pulling for multiple teams. So you need multiple healers, multiple tanks, multiple batteries. So no longer it's just I have Warrior of Light. I don't need anybody else. It's no longer going to be that. So I'm saying for Lena, who's going to be a special case too, is she's such a niche support. She's not a support that covers everything like Kate Sith did. So moving forward, you need to consider, do I have a team in mind for this character? Because plug and play isn't going to be a thing anymore in a few months.
There was another question, wrapping up our host discussion. Should you keep or pull for duplicate EX weapons? Is there some misinformation about how EX Plus works, and people thinking they need to
Okay.
save EX weapons? Do we want
The
to
thing is
briefly
about
address
bonus
that?
spheres. Mino, could you tell us a little bit about this and why people want duplicate EXs or keep talking about it in the community?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's so stupid. I thought we quashed this a long time ago. But when you MLB an EX plus, you get a bonus sphere, which works like materia in FF7. A little extra stat bonus that you can slot into characters if they have the corresponding slot. For example, Cloud's the first one. If you MLB Cloud, he does 20% more brave damage on his crits or something, or 10%, as long as they can equip it. And most damage dealing characters will be able to equip that sphere. So people thought, well, if you have multiple EXs, you can make multiple EX pluses and get multiple spheres. That's the idea behind this concept. But that's a theory. In practice, right now, ingots, which are needed to LB EX plus weapons, are so rare in Japan that everyone has more EXs than they can MLB. That's just a fact. People are saying, well, maybe in the future they'll become more plentiful, like high shards have for us, or armor tokens and stuff. But we haven't seen that yet. As Chris is saying, don't look too
people
far
are
in the
saying
future.
in Twitch, the ignots are what people want in the dupes for, not the spheres.
Oh, okay. Then the ingots is you're using books to, when you use a book to on an MLB EX to turn it into an EX plus, you get a free ingot. And the ingots, you need 3 ingots to MLB an EX plus, if this is all making sense still. So people are saying use the book to get an ingot. But also on that front, same thing, a lot of JP players saying books are still rare enough that that's not possible either. That you can't just turn all of these MLB EXs into ingots unless you're a whale, because 200 what's the weapon pity right now? 200G tokens?
It's 300
300.
G for the weapon, and in Japan it's 200 G tokens for the book.
Right. So I'm saying, sure, you could get lots of books if you're constantly spending your G tokens, but outside of that, there's still not enough for all of these EXs and ingots. I don't think, point in time, 10 months in the future, it's worth it at all. There's always going to be the extreme hoarders, like Chris was saying, who are going to say, well, maybe they'll be more plentiful in the future, then it'll pay off. But I'm not that type. If I get a duplicate EX right now, I'm saving 4 Power Stones, guys. I don't know about you.
Yeah, well, Random Planet is saying we're using extra copies for extra materia in Japan. So there's still obviously a lot of confusion about it.
Again, I think the three of us, even we're not Japanese players, we don't play the game, but it seems like a bad idea to us.
I certainly wouldn't be pulling for duplicate EXs. I mean,
yeah, we have people weighing in already too. Sorry. So Pain here says ingots are way too rare to go only for a sphere, and you can't sell an EX plus weapon, so it's dead space in the inventory. Oh, I didn't know that. You can't sell EX pluses, so it just blocks up your inventory. Yeah, we there's a lot of agreement in chat about ingots and books being too rare. Random Planet says we're using extra copies for extra spheres in JP, but I don't. That's the first I've heard of it. I don't know. I haven't talked to any other JP player who's gotten duplicate sphere. I don't know anybody personally who has a duplicate sphere, unless you guys want to share, because that's
Random
a lot of.
Planet is clarifying and say that it's for the future. No one's doing it right now.
Right, exactly.
Saving the EX. Yeah.
So if they're not doing it 10 months from now, it's like, how long do you want to wait for that investment to pay off? I mean, I'll be the first to admit I do regret using tickets before ticket rate doubled. But other than that, I've always been playing for the present and not trying to plan that far. That's crazy.
Yeah, some EX weapons do have really good spheres. So I wouldn't go out of my way to pull for duplicate EXs. You know, if you have the space and you're not hurting on Power Stones, you might consider saving if you did get duplicate EXs. That's never really been the case for me. So, yeah, and specifically, there are certain EXs that produce really good materia.
But here's the other thing. I know people who've done all content in JP without using any spheres, period, because their benefits are small and they're power creeping over time. So, for example, you've got Cloud. The first one to come out it was either 10% or 20% extra damage on crits, and that's really negligible, right? And then you've got Pinello coming out right now tonight, and hers is I forgot, it was like a battery every time you buff or something like that. So I'm just saying, people keep holding on to them. They're still power creeping. There's a lot of people in Japan who still haven't used their spheres because they're like, what if a better character comes out and this is better on them? You know, and it's the same problem all over again, in my opinion, if you play too much for the future.
I'm just not going to worry about that right now, because I'm much more confused than I was 15 minutes ago. So sometimes hanging out with JP players is not useful. So there's a whole different game. 2 different games. Keep reminding everyone. These are 2 different games, and will continue to be that way. But yeah, good to learn about that stuff a little bit ahead of time. We're still a ways off from EX pluses, so
yeah, it should be our 2nd anniversary, I believe.
Yeah, so let's save a little bit more of that till later on. So yes, as we already said, looking ahead, Lena EX June 16th and Summer Festival Part 2 June 21st. That is the end of our calendar as we have it. So if you would like to get in contact with us, you can always go to our website, www.tccpodcast.com, www.tccpodcast.com, on Facebook at FFTCC Podcast, on Twitter at FFTCC Podcast, at Twitch, The Crystal Chronicles, at YouTube, search The Crystal Chronicles, and on Discord, please feel free to join our Discord, and I'll jump that in the chat right now if no one else has. That is the link to our Discord channel. Come and join us through that. If you are joining us live and you're maybe new to us, feel free to like our channel, follow us, subscribe if you like. Turn your notifications on. We do stream every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central. If you're listening, right? Yes, every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, or that would be 1 a.m. UTC. So yes, please, that would be Friday, 1 a.m. UTC. So come join us. We're usually on a little bit before and a little bit later than the podcast. If you are listening, the invite was invalid, they're saying. So let me pull up a new invite. Sorry about that. There's an invite that should work. If you are listening to us online, please do come check us out on those various channels. If you are watching us right now on Twitch and you missed part of the show, or you'd like to catch some of our previous shows, you can download this as a podcast, because this is a podcast, on all of your favorite streaming and podcasting apps. Apple App Store, Google Play App Store, Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you can listen to podcasts, or our website as well. You can check out podcasts, The Crystal Chronicles. If you are on iTunes or Google, please give us a review and make it good, so we can continue to share this with the DFFO community. Guys, anything else for tonight? Chris, Mino?
That's all I got, Chris.
That's all I have.
All right. Well, for Mark, for Mino Spellgood, and Chris, a.k.a. Zerank, we wish you all the best. Good luck, good pulls, and until next week, goodbye.